looking at me because she was asleep. But then when I did the hell up, she was gonna be like, "Igga, are you
Last
dead
summer,
ass?"
I decided to have a yard sale. It's something that I did at my house every couple of years when I felt I accumulated too much junk.
I ain't never had no yard sale, as far as I can remember. Like, that's just, think about it. You had a yard sale, your own yard sale. Literally, people you do not know, and some of them you do know, come into your house. Come on. Come. And then sometimes you have yard sales like say you have a yard sale in your complex in your neighborhood, but you have them like you have signs that's at like the front gates or like the front entrance of your complex. So now when people are driving past your complex on the outskirts, they see, oh look, they have a yard sale. Because not only are you inviting people that you do not know to your house, you're inviting people that's not even from the neighborhood. You got that.
Get some extra money from it. I decided to set up most of what I was going to sell in the driveway, and the rest would be in the garage. I found a bunch of things around my house to sell after looking through my stuff for a few days. Then I had to clean up the garage a little bit for this, because I really only used my garage to store junk. I walked inside and started to go through some things when I suddenly heard a noise from the back corner. I thought maybe a squirrel had gotten in or something like that. Then I heard my entire garage door starting to close.
What?
I looked over and saw it going down, then hit the ground. When it did, the whole place went pitch black. I only had a small window at one of the top corners, which shined a tiny bit of light inside, but it really wasn't enough to see around. I wondered to myself how the door had just closed like that. I tried to walk over to the door to open it, but I bumped into some stuff. It was really tough to see. And then I started hearing more noises from the back corner of the garage behind
Oh
me.
my God.
It sounded like more than just a squirrel.
Oh yeah.
I was creeped out and needed to get out of there. I felt around and was slowly making my way to the door. I was almost there when all of a sudden I felt someone grab me. Somebody put a...
Oh, get off me. Get off me. Get off me. Hey, yo! If I'm ever in the dark and I know I'm alone, or better yet, if I'm somewhere else and I'm in the dark and I feel hands on me, I'm swinging. I'm swinging. I don't care. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry who it is. I'm just swinging. I'm kicking. I'm doing all of that.
Hand over my mouth and another one over my arm. I tried to get away immediately. I couldn't see at all who was there, and I ended up falling to the ground. Whoever had grabbed me had now let me go. Next thing I knew, it was completely silent, and I was laying there on the ground in my garage in the dark. I got up, and once again slowly felt my way over to the door. I found the handle on the ground and lifted it up. Light filled the garage again, and I looked back. I didn't see anybody in there.
What?
Now that I had some light, I went over and found an old bat that I had. I was planning to use it as a weapon to defend myself. I yelled whoever was in there to come out, and then I walked inside. I went all around, even to the back corner where I had heard the movement before, but nobody seemed to be inside the garage at all. After that, I went back to cleaning it out. I never figured out how my garage door closed and who was in there.
You a clock ass.
This happened many years ago when I was a kid. I was 10 years old at the time, but I still remember it very well. I used to go to garage sales with my parents sometimes when I was younger.
Garage sales, plural, with an S on the end. At least you went with your dad and not by yourself.
We would mostly go on weekends and in the summer when the weather was nice and they would have a lot of sales around our neighborhood. We would take a walk and go to maybe 5 or 10 sales in a day and see what cool things we could find. It was a great way to save money and find some cool stuff. I would mostly just look for cool toys or video games, being the 10-year-old kid that I was back then. One day, it was during the summer, and our neighbor down at the end of the street was having a sale in their driveway. It was a warm and sunny day, and my mother and I walked down to the end of the street to check it out. When we got there, we saw that there was quite a few other people there as well. I would say there was maybe 10 other people in the driveway looking at stuff. I went straight for the video game area, and I saw that they had some really cool ones I hadn't seen before. But one in particular that really caught my eye was the newest Madden game that was only a few months old at the time. The game was for PlayStation 2, and I think it was being sold for only $5. I just remember it was super cheap, and as soon as I saw it, I grabbed it and began to walk to the owner of the house. But after I had taken a step, I felt a tap on my shoulder. There was another kid who looked to be about my age. He kind of grabbed my arm and said he had seen the Madden game before I did. He said I had taken it from him. I told the kid I hadn't even seen him, and he told me,
That's tough! That's tough! Get your hands off me. That's tough. That's tough. That's tough. I don't know what to tell you. Back up. Back up. I'm ready. What's going on? What's up? What's up? Oh.
He just got a few feet away and set the game down for a second. I didn't really believe him, and I knew how good of a deal the game was, so I told the kid I was going to buy it anyways. The kid looked at me with a really angry face and told me to give him the game or else.
Or else?
Looking back, it was kind of rude of me, I guess, and I probably should have just gave it to him. But I told the kid no and walked away.
Or else? Or else. I don't like when people say that. Or else. That could just mean a numerous amount of things. Or else. As soon as the kid said or else, I would have said, come pin the tail on his ass. Say it with your chest. Oh, Blaze.
I went over and bought it. The kid stared at me the whole time with an angry look as I did.
Wow.
I walked away and left with him basically still watching me.
Wow.
I got back home, and with it being a weekend, I immediately went...
But wait a minute. You can't just skip like that. You cannot. I have a headache. You cannot just skip like that. Because you cannot just go home and expect that he didn't just follow you home. Or maybe not followed you home, followed you enough where he knows where you live. Because I guarantee he knows where you live.
I room to play my new game. When I started playing, time seemed to fly by. I was having a great time until I heard my bedroom door start to open.
See?
It was sometime in the afternoon now, and I looked over expecting to see my mom. But instead, I saw the kid from the garage sale. He was standing in my doorway staring at me. I was really surprised to see this, and I had no idea how he got in my house. He was a lot bigger than me, and when I saw him, I paused my game. He said he wanted the game, and he wanted it now.
You're 10. So I just got one question. One simple question. Again, you're 10. Where your parents at? Because not they in cahoots. Oh, no.
I asked him what he was doing here, but he just started walking closer to me. I started screaming for help as he did. I felt the kid was going to hurt me. When I started yelling, I heard the voice of my parents off in the distance. The kid paused, then he ran out of my room, and shortly after that, my mom came in. I told her everything that had happened. My parents had been out in the backyard doing yard work.
Wow.
I guess the kid was able to just walk in the front door with it being unlocked. I was glad that he was gone now, though, and I still had my game, too. I played it some more that night, and then went to bed. The next morning when I woke up, I soon noticed that my new game was now gone. It had been inside my PlayStation, and I knew someone had took it. When I got up, I asked my parents, but they both said that they hadn't seen it at all.
Your parents suck. Your parents suck. Condoms.
I didn't know how to explain it until I got a creepy thought. Maybe the kid never left our house when he left my room. Maybe he just hid somewhere, and when we all went to bed, he took my game. To this day, I still think that's what happened.
What are your parents doing? Because I honestly feel like they was in cahoots.
I had a yard sale at my house a few years ago. I cleaned out my entire house and put everything out in my yard and in my driveway for people to look through and buy. I lived in a sort of populated neighborhood, so I knew a lot of people would probably come. I was planning on having the sale go for 2 days, which would be on Friday and Saturday. Sure enough, when I had my sale, a lot of people came through on the first day. I was selling more things than I thought I would, to be honest, and everything was going really well. I was helping people and didn't really pay attention to all who was there. But then a woman came up to me at one point on Friday and told me that a man had gone through my backyard and he seemed suspicious, like he was trying to get in my house. I hadn't even noticed and wasn't really paying attention to the backyard, so I got up and walked over. I didn't see anybody though. I looked around for a few seconds, but I had to get back to my front yard where the sale was, so I returned. The woman told me she thought the man had left now, but just wanted to let me know.
What's the chances that the woman that she was just talking to is in cahoots with the guy that's in the back of the house?
I didn't see anyone, but she gave me a description of the man just in case I saw him again. I kept an eye out, but I didn't notice him at all. The rest of the day went well. I made a lot more money than I thought I would, and eventually it got late and people stopped showing up, so I decided to close the sale down for the day. I moved everything into my garage and then locked it. After that, I went inside and watched TV for a little bit, but I planned to start the sale early the next day at about 7 o'clock in the morning, so I went to bed. I went up to my bedroom to go to bed that night.
So you went to bed without checking the checklist? Hey, nobody checked the checklist. Hey, nobody checked the checklist. Hey, mama didn't check the checklist. Hey, daddy did. You know, nobody, you didn't make myself go through? I didn't say nothing. I didn't say nothing at all.
After, I started to hear noise downstairs, as if there was someone walking around. I immediately thought of the man who had been in my backyard earlier. I locked my bedroom door and listened closely. I just kept hearing the sound of somebody walking around. It sounded like whoever was there was in the living room. I reached for my phone to call the police, but it wasn't there. Then I started to panic. I always had my phone with me, but it wasn't in my pocket where it usually was. I realized then that I must have forgotten it downstairs. I had been on the couch watching TV for a while, so I assumed that's where it was. That was also where whoever I heard downstairs was. I wasn't sure what to do, but I had no phone or way of communication in there. I eventually heard the man start to go up the stairs. My heart started to beat even harder than it already was. He came up the stairs and started down the hallway. My door was the second one on the right. He seemed to walk closer, and I was up against the door listening. It was almost as if he had come straight for my door and then tried opening it. It didn't open because it was locked, but I thought I was going to have a heart attack when he tried to open it. He seemed to continue down the hallway after that. Then he walked back downstairs. I listened for a while, but after that, I didn't hear anything. I thought maybe he had left, and I wasn't sure why he was there in the first place, or how he had gotten in. I kept listening for probably a whole hour,
You didn't
and I
check
didn't hear anything. So I then decided to go downstairs to get my phone. I still felt really creeped out, and I walked down the stairs to my dark living room. Thankfully, I didn't hear or see anyone, and I figured he had left. I looked in the couch, and sure enough, my phone was there, and it had just gone between the cushions. I got it, and then went back upstairs and called the police. They came out a while later, and I let them in the house. I went outside and spoke to an officer. But then, to my surprise, I saw a few officers come out with the man.
Oh, shit.
I didn't know he had still been in my house. I was told that he had been found hiding underneath my staircase in a closet with a knife in his hand.
Jesus. Yo, that yard sale for the birds. Yard sales and then selling anything online and then meeting up with that person, that's still for the birds. Let me know if you had any, yard sale experiences, good or bad. No, just bad. I want to learn. I want to know about the bad ones. Let me know in the comment section below. Keep it cool, keep it classy, and I love you. Stay happy, my family.